going to talk about something today that could possibly change the way you shoot, change the way that you handle a gun. And it's a very vital, important principle that a lot of shooters miss. And that is keeping both eyes open. Now, many would argue that by looking down the sight of a gun, that you can concentrate better with one eye closed. Look at that front sight, look at your target. But I'm going to propose to you today that the most important thing you can do when shooting a handgun, rifle, scoped or unscoped, is to keep both eyes open. As you can see, I have both eyes open. Now, to the untrained shooter, you're going to see two front sights and possibly a blurred, very blurred rear sight. But when I look down this barrel, it's a crisp, clear front sight, rear sight. With just a little bit of training, just some exercises that you can use, it's going to make a world of difference in your shooting. Keeping both eyes open is really based on the principle of right and left dominance. Most of us are either right-handed or left-handed. Some are ambidextrous, but there's always one that's a little more dominant than the other. Same thing applies to the eye. You're either right eye or left eye dominant. Typically, if you're right-handed, you're right eye dominant. Now for me, of course I am right-handed. When I bring the gun up, I'm looking, I allow my dominant eye to take over. I've trained it to take over. Every time I bring the gun up, I see my front sight. Now, the best way to get started with this, squint your non-dominant eye. And for me, it'll be my left eye. So I'm going to squint my non-dominant eye, and I'm going to bring the gun up, bringing this one into focus. There we go. Repeat this a number of times. In fact, I have a target set up on the wall of my shop. Gun's always unloaded. I'm double checking it all the time. You never can be too safe. But keep your finger out of the trigger. You don't need to have your finger in the trigger to work on this technique. Bring the gun up, front sight. Squint, open. Squint, open. I guarantee that it'll make a big difference for you. Now, the reason why it's so important to get this principle down and to have both eyes open. For one thing, light condition in both eyes, also field of depth. You can see distances. And the other thing is, you can peripheral vision. Your nose will block what's coming over here. There could be a lot of action coming to the left side of me. If I have my eye closed, I'd never even know it, except from sound. It gives you much more of an advantage to keep both eyes open. Okay, here are a few things when using a rifle. Now, I'm going to use a scoped rifle at first to show these principles, and then I'm going to show it without the scope. But as you can see, as I bring my eye up to the scope, I keep that other eye open. Now, one of the most important things that this does is it keeps both pupils in the same condition. The light is affecting both eyes in the same way. Now, if I'm looking at this sight and I close one eye and then open, it takes me a minute for the transition. And unfortunately, the older you get, the longer the transition. One of the other very important aspects, too, with keeping both eyes open, is that if I close my left eye, then my nose blocks the peripheral vision of my right eye. So I'm not really seeing anything that's going on to the left of me. But with that eye open, I see it. And two, just the whole entire light effect. You pull the scope down, your eyes are both accustomed to the light and ready for your next shot. One of the other things too it does, and if you'll watch, as I close this eye, the muscles on my face tense up, and the longer I hold it, the more fatigued my face will become. If you keep both eyes open and you look, you can keep your face relaxed in a natural state, and that is extremely important. Keeps your face square with the target. Instead of coming in like this, I'm looking square at the target. I can bring it for my follow-up shot. Close quarter combat makes it really nice. Bring it up, boom, boom, boom. It's a great technique to use. Okay, here again with the scope off the rifle. Bring the gun up, bring it up. My eyes open, ready for my next shot. Something's coming in from the left. Excellent technique. It's more natural. You can see everything going on around you. Ready for that shot? Boom. Boom. And this is what I do, and this is how I practice. I get my eyes ready, I pull the gun up, and immediately I allow my right eye to hone in. Your brain actually works better and clearer when you have both eyes open. Field of depth is also important. You can't really tell distances when you have one eye closed. And the reason is because the two eyes focus and they adjust for things moving in the background, and it gives you a really good depth perception. Very important when it comes to shooting, especially in longer distances. And especially in distances that are really extreme.